What if you could learn from physical product entrepreneurs that have risen up from the trenches to dominating their market by creating successful physical product brands? Well, this podcast is hosted by me, Kunle Campbell, and it's about breaking the mold to becoming a smarter, savvier, and better product entrepreneur. You discover how to take physical products from concept through launch and to scaling up from physical product entrepreneurs who've taken their revolutionary ideas to 1 million, 10 million, and 50 million plus in revenue businesses. You'll also join me on my journey to build $1 million physical product brand business in a year, where we both will learn about crowdfunding, selling to retail chains, launching through marketplaces like Amazon, strategic partnerships, publicity, celebrity endorsements, and selling direct to consumers. So if you're creating or building a brand in the consumer packaged goods space, in fashion and apparel, business products, or any physical product niche, listen in because we have you covered. Join the fast track to physical product business success. This is the Physical Product Business Podcast. I'm Kunle Campbell. Let's get rolling. Hi guys, welcome to the 2X e-commerce podcast show. This is the Physical Product Business Podcast. You're part of the 2X e-commerce podcast show, as you know. And this is the place where you learn about how to launch physical product brands to market, okay? On today's show, I have someone really special because he fits into the very ethos of this show. He is a retail distribution strategy expert. He runs an agency called Retailbound, and here's what they do. They're a full-service retail consulting agency based out in Chicago, and they pretty much have trained and taught well over 3,500 entrepreneurs on how to sell and work with retailers of all shapes and sizes. They work both on the buy side and on the retailer side. Okay, and without further ado, I'd like to welcome Yohan Jacobs. Yohan, I hope I did you justice with the intro. If I haven't, take a minute or less to introduce yourself, please.
No, you did a great introduction. I'm looking to hear what kind of questions you have about retail 101, I guess.
Okay, let's talk about what you've done. So you've been pretty much doing this for about a decade, right? Could you tell us about your agency, Retailbound, and what you do in general?
So prior to starting Retailbound, my experience for that is probably a little more in context. I've been in the industry for about 25 years. I started my career as a manufacturer, trying to sell into retail prior to the internet. So I did old school. There was no email, no internet. It was all trade shows and knocking on doors. And the yellow pages. It was those the good old days. And then after a couple of years as a manufacturer and making more of my fair share of mistakes, but learning from them, I decided to get my MBA here in the U.S. and jump to the other side of the desk and become a large retail buyer. I was a very large retail buyer for 2 different retailers in the U.S. Mm-hmm. I managed made-in product categories. My biggest line as a merchant was close to $1 billion a year in annual sales, so I was a very large retail buyer. And besides brick and mortar retail, I also did work in B2B. Okay. So selling to contract, hospitality, healthcare, government. So I kind of joke that as a consultant, I'm a jack of all trades, maybe a master of none. Because our clients, especially when you use me as a consultant, can tap into my experiences both as a manufacturer, but also as a retailer, B2C as well as B2B. But the reason why I started Retailbound many years ago, as a retail buyer, I used to get so many cold calls from entrepreneurs or small businesses. Hey, Yohan, this is Bob from XYZ. I want to sell you a bunch of stuff. And as a buyer myself, because I was a manufacturer before, I probably pick up the phone more often than my counterparts. I mean, as you know, it's very tough even today now to try to find a buyer. Yeah. There are no email, no phone numbers. There's gatekeepers. They're blocked, right? But I say, I know how hard it is to get to talk to a buyer. So when I was a buyer, I tried to always pick up the phone or any emails, right, answer them if I could. But when I was on the phone with a potential supplier for my retail stores, I could ask a couple questions. I could tell which suppliers were ready to work with me, which ones weren't. And if you weren't ready to talk to me, you waste your time, you waste my time, and you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
So there's got to be a way to help these young entrepreneurs with really cool products to make it retail. I don't care if it's Best Buy or Amazon, or in between those two points, be able to showcase a product. So that's why I started Retailbound, 9 years ago.
Okay, interesting. So prior to Retailbound, you said you worked in the B2B, in the B2C section, B2B. What retailer did you work with?
So I was a retail buyer at Sears Holdings here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they were a $40 billion retailer. Unfortunately, they're a much smaller, but they were, back in the day when I was a buyer, there was about $40 billion in annual sales in the U.S. And then after Sears, I left and joined Office Max.
Okay, I know Office Max.
Office Max has a division, has both the retail stores as well as the B2B, and my team and I manage the B2B side of Office Max.
Okay, interesting. And you're just talking about Sears and also Macy's. They're having a very tough time. And I was just reading an article today saying Amazon may be buying Macy's. Macy's seems
I heard about that. Yes, I mean there's a lot of brick and mortar retailers. It's getting tough. The last 60 days, 5 major retailers from Lowe's to Walmart, Macy's, Sears, Kmart, Penny's. They're it is typically at the end of the fourth quarter, retailers start to look at how were sales for the previous year and tweak back maybe some of their lesser performing stores. We call it D locations or C locations. But last year was very tough for retailers that had a lot of brick and mortar space in the U.S.
Right.
And so in January, there were a lot of announcements of retailers like Lowe's, like Walmart, like Sears, and so forth, cutting back store count for this year, as well as shuttering or as well as reducing staff, both in the field as well as at corporate.
Okay. So in 2017, for an entrepreneur, there are many kind of obvious, quote unquote, routes to market. Say I designed and I have manufactured a really cool looking gym flask, flask for a gym, or a mixer, for instance. Sure. Traditionally, now in 2017, my route to market could be a Kickstarter campaign on the one hand. It could be launching an Amazon store on the other. Where does retail sit, and when should what does timing look like from your point of view for entrepreneurs looking to launch their products to market? What would you do if you're an entrepreneur in 2017?
It's a great question. So honestly, we talked to a lot of crowd-funded entrepreneurs who just launched their campaign or who just completed their campaign, and they said, hey, wow, I raised $500,000 in US, and I want to start to maybe transition into retail. That's great. In fact, we love to help you out. And one thing we always ask is, what's the end game? What do you want to do? I mean, are you going to be a one SKU vendor? Make this great flask, as you mentioned, or are you looking at maybe, someday, not today, but to broaden your assortment and have maybe a series of gym flasks or other products around the gym environment, fitness and sports environment? Because it's very tough today as a singular one SKU vendor to do sizable volume. Unless you have a big pocket of money, it's very tough. So we tell our clients, let's be realistic, okay? If you're a one SKU vendor with limited capital, Best Buy, Target, some of the major retailers in the U.S. that could do some volume, may be out of sight for now. Not saying it's out of reason, but maybe out of sight. Let's be realistic. Let's look. We call it the slow burn. Let's start small. So you're right. You mentioned about Amazon. It would be direct or through their marketplace. There are probably some other online players, maybe some catalogers like Sharper Image, Hammacher Schlemmer, maybe Brookstone, depending if your margins are in that range. Maybe some regional independent retailers that you do direct or through distributor. But the key here is that you want to prove to a Best Buy or Target that you have a following that outside of Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and you have an established sales history. As I mentioned earlier about these manufacturers who come to me and say, hey, Yohan, I want to sell it to your stores. Great. Have you sold before? How many units have you sold the last 12 months? 0. Well, I'm a large retailer, and large retail buyers, we have brick and mortar stores. There's a lot more risk than just putting a thing online only. They don't like buying. They don't like risk. They want to reduce their risk. Absolutely. So because remember, I put it online on a website and you have to fulfill it. There's no risk whatsoever. Put it in a catalog or in a brick and mortar store. There's a little more thought involved, a little more data involved. So we tell our clients, start small. Let's find a few low-hanging fruit. Get in some stores. Get a sales history. Understand. The percentage of returns that come back, they're defective or truly buyer's remorse. Build a bulletproof supply chain, because again, when you go to a large retailer and you say, you miss a shipment to Best Buy's warehouse, you short ship, you short ship, or you ship the wrong without a barcode label. These little mistakes can be costly. For a small manufacturer when dealing with a large retailer. With a smaller retailer, that if you may make a couple of mistakes, financially it's not going to hurt you. So we always tell our clients maybe get your mistakes out, in the lower playing field, and then once you have a more solid program, then go after the bigger retailers.
Which kind of makes sense, because you need to crawl before you walk, and
that's correct.
Testing out in the smaller retailers that have a lower threshold for error margin, enables you to learn and just make small mistakes, and then when the big ones come, you already know what to do, and hopefully you don't make those mistakes at scale. Now, this begs two questions. I'll start with the first question. What would you define as a small retailer? Would they still be a chain retailer, or are you talking about individual stores?
I would say both. I would say that what I consider a small retailer, it could be an individual store, or someone who has a chain of stores, maybe 10 stores, 25 stores. Or it's a .com retailer, like thegrommet.com, house.com, some of these, retailers that do well online, but don't have a lot of brick and mortar space. Those are the ones I would target first before going to the typical Apple, Best Buy, Target one. Again, and when we talk to a potential client, we always ask, who are your dream retailers? Who would you love to see, in the next 12 to 18 months. We hear some really good ones, from QVC to Best Buy to Walmart to Target to Apple, depending on what product category they're, Bed Bath & Beyond. And that's great. Let's develop a strategy, a roadmap, and how do we get from here to here? And again, part of that strategy is let's start small, get some sales, get a track history before we go talk to the bigger retail. Again, we don't waste their time. We don't waste our time. So let's get our stuff together first, and then hopefully in 6 to 8 months we'll be ready to talk to a larger retailer about our product line.
Okay. How does geography play in selecting a small retailer with multiple locations? Maybe they have 10 branches. Would they tend to have the branches in a single state, or I don't think they want to spread their tentacles across states because they're small, but you may beg to differ. I'm not sure what the situation is out there.
Yeah, I think for manufacturers who are trying to talk to smaller retailers, whether here in the U.S. or anywhere outside the U.S., I think it's fine. How is purchasing done? Is it decentralized or is it centralized? Like for is it is it one parent location that says I'm going to buy for all 12 stores, or you have to go to each individual store? That would make more sense. I would say that I would focus on retailers that there's one buying office that there's 25 stores, but the main store that buys or makes the buying decisions for these stores is in Chicago or LA or New York. Especially when you're in a different country, if you're in the UK, if you're in Hong Kong, you're in Tel Aviv, Israel, like some other clients, it's very tough to talk to a 3-store retailer in Dallas, Texas, right? Yeah. And that's why I think sometimes working with distributors is part of our slow burn, because again, as a small manufacturer, the last thing you want to do is provide. You may not have the team or the resources, but also you don't have the ability to provide customer service and even credit to hundreds of small mom and pop retailers. Sometimes a distributor would be a great place to start with. If I'm a distributor
would the distributors pay cash, or would you need to give them credit?
I know in other countries, some distributors pay upfront, like retailers. Unfortunately, U.S., every retailer, every distributor, there's always terms. It could be net 30 to net 90, and where we always tell our clients we can't wait 30 or 90 days, with 60 being the average for a distributor or a large retailer. Offer a terms discount, so maybe it's 1% 30 net 60. So at least if I get paid in 30 days, the retail or distributor gets an additional 1% off the invoice.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, now to my original question, which I've been holding back for a bit, it has to do with getting into the head of a buyer. Okay, assuming I'm a buyer or you're a buyer, and I approach you, what kind of metrics, sales metrics, product metrics, would get your attention once my email pops on your screen?
Well, it's funny you mentioned. So how you mentioned about email. So I always tell our clients, and this is a great tip. While emails are less evasive, very easy to do. Even in today's digital environment, it's not our first strategy in trying to contact a retail buyer. We get so many emails a day that if I don't know who you are, I'm gonna delete it, right? I think I always tell our clients, well, they kind of shudder a little bit, but I said you're better off to pick up the phone, old school, and call the buyer and try to get a hold of him or her, and introduce yourself, introduce your product, why you're calling it, and then send an email recapping your conversation. That email more likely to be opened up. I mean, no offense, I can send 1,000 emails to 1,000 retailers today, and the percentages of it open up is 0.0001. So we always say, hey, if you want to stand out from the crowd, from other 400 other manufacturers, this exact same idea you have, make a phone call. Pick up the phone, you may get the voicemail. Don't leave a voicemail because they're going to call you back. Try again until you get the buyer live on the phone. And to answer your question, what buyers care about are really 3 things. A, will this manufacturer, will this product drive top-line sale? That's one of my KPIs, okay? Because at the end of the day, I need to grow my sales for my product line. 2, product margin. I'm growing sales, but am I making money out of this? Because at the end of the day, for me to keep these stores open, I need to make money, right? And then 3, just as important as driving sales and bottom line profits, inventory turns. If I buy 1,000 pieces today on February 10th, on March 10th, if I still have 1,000 pieces, bad on me, but more importantly, bad on you as a manufacturer. So those are other KPIs, but those are the 3 basic ones that a buyer looks at: is A, top line sales, bottom line profits, and inventory turnover.
Okay, what kind of sell-through rates would they be looking at for every 100 products are sent to them?
It varies based on the product line. So if you're a consumable, like grocery, your returns are much higher.
Yeah.
Where if you're a high price, let's say you're a $8,000 massage chair,
Right.
you're not going to sell it. You'll probably sell 2 a month, depending on how many stores you have. And I guess what we tell our clients is before you talk to a buyer, we talk about being ready, right? You need some basic facts, like you need to know, like knowing the stats on a baseball card of your favorite player, or cricket, or any other sport. One, you mentioned sales. So how are sales going, year to date, month to date? So a buyer may ask you, hey, how are sales on this product line? I don't know. Well, that's strike one right there, right? The second thing you want to know is, besides your sales year to date, month to date, week to date, is they want to know what's your defective rate, what's your return rate. So on Amazon, as an example, if you're shipping on Amazon, on Seller Central or Vendor Central, they have a stat on number of returns. Hey, I sold 50 this week, and 5% back. Okay, right. So your defective rate there. Now it could be buyer's remorse, or it could be truly a defective. End of the day, it's still a return. And buyers, they don't want a boomerang. They want to sell it and keep it sold. So they want to know if your defective rate is over a certain percentage. Let's say it's 15%. That's extremely high for any product category. Yeah. Typically, in my categories, I measure the buyer between 1% to 2% was normal for returns. Defectives would be.
The internet skews a few sectors. I'll give you an example, like apparel and shoes, like Zappos, for instance. Yep. A lot of people were will buy the same pair of shoes, but in 2 or 3 different sizes.
Sure.
And also for people want to see the fit, the look and the fit of the outfit when they wear it, and then they return it. How do those numbers sort of skew, if you're an apparel seller, your pitch to a retailer? Would they have that in mind? Because Amazon.
I think in some categories where there might be a little higher than average, like we call it the rental. When I bought camcorders back in the early 2000s, you used to get a lot of camcorder returns back in early January. Why is that? Because they were taping, grandma opened the gift, or they went to Disney World on vacation, and they sent the camcorder back. Or it's like you mentioned, or I go to prom, I got my dress, but I keep the tag on after the thing. So unfortunately, there are consumers that try to build the system, and retailers understand that, and they're not going to hold the manufacturer accountable. Hey, because we got high return, because someone is renting the product, or in this case, they'll just say, hey, apparel, I'm buying 3 pairs of shoes in different sizes. That is taken into account. Or it's a product. We have a couple of clients that make health and wellness wearables to fix your posture or break a bad habit. And like anything else, it works or doesn't work. Every person is different. It's like a Fitbit, a activity tracker. So honestly, the return percentage might be a little higher than maybe some other product categories, and the buyer will take that into account.
Okay. Okay.
And I also say that as a buyer myself, if I see the returns very high, I would ask the manufacturer, hey, let's take a look at the returns you're getting. Are they truly defective, or is it buyer's remorse? If it's buyer's remorse, is there a way we can prevent that? I had a manufacturer back in 2002 that the return rate was over 25%.
Whoa.
Okay, and that's nuts. And they say, Yohan, 99% of what we're getting back from your stores is literally brand new. It's workable. In fact, the box was still open. And I said, well, so the simple fix we made, this product, you actually had to, there was nowhere in the box that said you had to install a piece into your computer. Right. So I said, here's a simple solution. And a big giant yellow sticker on the box saying, hey, assembly required. Okay? And it dropped the returns more than 95%, literally overnight. Our sales dropped. We had less sales, but the return percentage was far less because we told customers on the retail package, hey, some assembly required, and it stopped customers. I don't want to assemble. I'm gonna find something else that's suited for my needs.
It costs you less, just put in that. And it's so fascinating how copywriting impacts, sales across the board. So on websites, people make singular changes in copy and with the same effect and get the same effect as you did, the 95%, drop or change, which is required in the right direction, which is fascinating. Okay. Prior to us going live on this call, you talked about one of the ethos of what you do, which is, and what manufacturers should do, which is really making buyers' lives easier. And I remember tracking back when we initially, had a conversation, and you were talking about the framework Retailbound actually uses, which is the 8 building blocks to making new products a success in retail. Could we sort of loop these two concepts together in terms of how to make buyers' lives easier to your 8 building blocks to making new products a success in retail?
Yeah, I'll keep it simple. And honestly, okay. At a high level, if you want to be a successful manufacturer in retail and have an ongoing relationship, you need to make the buyer's job easier. I mean, I'll give you. You mentioned an example about the websites. Okay, that you want to make sure you have the right copy, the content, the images ready to go. You don't want to. I'll get the images in 6 weeks or 6 months. No, I mean, you're ready. If you're ready to do business with me now, you have all your files, your videos, images, your copy, and then that's one part. But the other part that irritates buyers the most is constantly tweaking the copy on the retailer's website. So let's say on bestbuy.com, you submit all your copy, your content, collateral. We get on the website. A week later, you call Best Buy, the buyers, hey, I need to change one word. Okay, fine, okay, one word, not a problem. And 2 weeks later, hey, I need to change some images. Well, okay, that's not making my job. Every time I have to open the engine hood, and tweak, it costs me time when I could be spending time somewhere else. That's one way of making the buyer's job easier is, hey, set it and forget. I mean, it's okay to tweak once in a while, but I've had some previous clients of mine would constantly, about that bestbuy.com was their own website.
Right.
In an extension, yes, but you cannot constantly keep asking the buyer to keep reworking the copy on the website. That's not a great way of starting a relationship, but with a retail buyer. I would say another way of making the buyer's job easier is communicating. Online is very easy to change prices quickly, right?
Right.
So let's say hypothetically, you said to lower your price on your website, okay, below the map or the minimum advertised price, and you didn't tell the buyer. All of a sudden, the buyer's getting a lot of requests. Hey, I see on Amazon.com that this widget is $20 less than your website. I want you to price match it. What? So being maybe, I think communication is probably the number one thing in making a buyer's job easier. As a buyer myself, if I called you or if I emailed you as a supplier, hey, I'm not calling because I'm bored. I'm calling you because I need something. And
right.
if it takes you in this world today with Skype and cell phones and tablets, there's no reason why you cannot get back to someone in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And so if it takes you a week to get back with an answer, and you didn't tell the retailer, hey, I'll get back to you. I got a trade show. I'll get back to you in 3 days. Again, not making my job easier. I can tell you that you're not the only supplier. There are countless suppliers out there who want your spot on the shelf. So
right.
That's why I say communication both ways is very important. Again, making the buyer's job easier.
That makes a lot of sense. What do you think about Amazon Launchpad, right, versus Indiegogo and crowdfunding in its entirety as how it will connect to? Okay, so say let's track back to my my Flask scenario, my Flask use case.
Sure.
I launched to Indiegogo. What steps should I logically take given my limited capital to expand into retail eventually, how would you advise listeners who are launching on Kickstarter or maybe even Amazon Launchpad? I think you need to get on Kickstarter before you get onto Amazon Launchpad. What are the key steps? So it seems as if Amazon is onboarding a lot of Indiegogo and Kickstarter successes through their Amazon Launchpad. What other options besides Amazon Launchpad do manufacturers actually have, and how?
Well, so one, we're actually an official mentor. Retailbound is an official mentor at Amazon Launchpad program. We're one of 30 suppliers here in the U.S. We'll be marketing, sales, distribution, logistics, manufacturing. We're one of 30 agencies that were created by Amazon's Launchpad team, because our team alone has actually worked probably over 300, actually more than that, but I'd say at least 300 Launchpad vendors on the program. So prior to us being selected as a vendor of record for Amazon, Indiegogo as well, we're also known to help them out there, their team as well. But I would say that typically, where we Kickstarter Indiegogo, that's usually the first place, because it allows you to get a beta test of users who are going to try out your product, give you some honest feedback before you go launch into online or brick and mortar retail. Mm-hmm. So I would say that for most of our clients today, use crowdfunding to get started. Mm-hmm. And then the next bridge from after crowdfunding, we talk about the low-hanging fruit. Amazon would be Launchpad or Seller Central, mm-hmm. or any other marketplace, Jet.com, Newegg.com, Sears.com, to get started. Amazon honestly is probably the most recognizable marketplace or the Launchpad program. The reason why is,
do you help retailers get on all of these platforms, or okay, all right, cool.
But Amazon is being the biggest, and the reason why is because, let's say you're on Amazon today, that flask, and our team was representing you in marketing and sales support, and we're talking to a large sporting goods retailer, Dick's Sporting Goods, which has hundreds of stores here in the U.S. The first thing the buyer's going to do is go to Amazon. I can guarantee you the first thing they're going to do, because like I said earlier about some things you need to know as a manufacturer, and when you talk to a retail buyer, some of the basic facts. We talk about sales history, what your sales year to date in units, what's the defective rate. The third, which I didn't get to finish, was knowing what is the average price online, as well as what's your reviews like. Right. Because Amazon, love or hate them, as a manufacturer, as a consultant, or as a consumer, it's a great way of showing to retailers how you're doing. And they look at they want to look at your content on Amazon. Right. They want to look at your price point on Amazon, and more importantly, you want to look at the verified reviews on Amazon.
Not the incentivized ones.
Yeah, not or ones not the 8 5-star reviews that came from your friends or family. Yes. But those, that's one thing. As a manufacturer, when I'm talking to a retail buyer, I want to know what's the average price online. I'm on 15 different websites. I want to know, hopefully, before I go talk to a buyer, hey, the price of this widget is $99. Really? On this Yohan.com, it's $69.99. You're trying to sell to me for $60? I can't do that and make $9. There's no way. Mm-hmm. So you need to know what is the average price point online, what's your defective rate, and what's your sales history. But going back, I would say Indiegogo, Kickstarter, great place to launch your product. Great way to get build SEO, SEM, get build awareness, get some PR. Mm. Amazon probably the next step. Build your Amazon page and getting that sales history, getting valid testimonials. Yeah. And then from there, it's going to reaching out to smaller or key retailers that make sense. Again, we talk about the regional retailers, we talk about distributors. Mm-hmm. Also, a lot of other retailers are starting to develop their own Launchpad. Brookstone has their own program. Interesting. Called Brookstone Launch. Best Buy, I was actually at Best Buy 2 weeks ago. Corporate, they have a program called Best Buy Ignite. Very similar as well to Amazon Launchpad. So everyone's seeing what Amazon is doing, and so other retailers are starting to for the last couple of years, Target, Staples, Best Buy, Brookstone are starting to curate startups. I mean, 10 years ago, it would be very tough as a startup to talk to a Best Buy or a Brookstone. Now they're actually encouraging it, and they're actually agencies like Retailbound. They say, "Hey, Yohan, what do you have new in your portfolio? Any new clients that are ready for retail?" "Yeah, I got these 3 new clients. Let me make the introduction. Let's get going here." So this is a year now for startups to really talk to a Brookstone, a Best Buy. But like I told Best Buy a couple weeks ago, just because you got successfully launched on Indiegogo, all right, does not guarantee any success into the retail world. There's a lot more, as you know. There's retail packaging, retail point of purchase displays. There's a lot more money in cost of marketing. There's a lot more stuff. So that's why agencies like Retailbound help companies like them get ready.
Okay, let's talk about 2 things before we wrap up.
Sure.
One is inherently when you're on when you're on the internet, and when you're selling on Amazon, inherently you don't necessarily need to put that much detail into packaging. You most of the time, and I might be wrong in some occasions, most of the time it's more about the product. You want to get really nice product images on there. And what happens with some retailers is they don't put enough attention to detail in their packaging. That's adequate enough for retail. So what key points from your perspective and from your experience working with so many retailers should listeners take on board with packaging for retail, especially if they're coming from an internet retail world of their products?
That's a great question. The best tip I tell our clients, especially on the consumer electronics side, is you're not Apple. Apple is probably the most simple packaging, but they're Apple. They can get along with that. You literally have less than 2 seconds to capture someone at the point of sale and on the shelf. So you want to make sure your retail packaging, while it's clean, it kind of gives a message. One of our favorite clients made a posture tracker wearable. Okay, it fits in your lower back. It vibrates when you slouch. Great product. They sold thousands of units online. In retail, the package itself, it looked like Apple. Beautiful package. But when it sits on that shelf, there was no. It had an image of the product. Well, that's great, but other than us, who knows what is that? Where do you put it? So the easiest change, and they actually made the change this year, was they actually included on the front of the package was a young lady with a wearable on her lower back. Okay, so a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I would say having well, it's simple, have enough copy to kind of educate the customer when she picks it up. What is it? Why do I want it? And then also another thing besides the content or the messaging on the packaging, the size of the packaging. Well, it can't be a big giant box and take half the shelf. It's got, you gotta make sure how big should it be. And so if your product fits on a hook and maybe 6 packets fit on a hook, all right, then that's how it should be. It should be 6 on a hook. You should be able to you want to maximize your shelf space without killing the retailer's return on investment. So, and also, like I mentioned, besides the content and the size of the box, can it be peggable? Can it sit on a shelf? You want to make it go back to making it easier for a retail buyer. You want to keep it clear and clean. And a lot of times, I always tell our clients, don't be afraid to ask a buyer before buyers like put their stink on it. They like to get their opinion on it. So ask 5 or 6 buyers, get their opinions on your proposed retail packaging, and then implement the ones that are the more common request from buyers.
And do you send the buyers like samples, and how many samples would you typically send the buyers, or what's the process like?
Typically, you send 1 sample. If you're doing it remotely, I would send 1 sample to a buyer. Bear in mind, you may not get that sample back. So just understand that it's part of your cost of doing business. If you want it back, make it easy. include a self return envelope and send it, or have someone go over and pick it up.
Okay.
But yeah, samples are definitely required. And I would say that for most of our manufacturers, make sure your product has gone through sufficient third-party testing. Mm-hmm. You mentioned apparel. They want to know, well, can it be laundered? If laundered, show me the third-party test from SGS. How many launderings can it do? If you're a product like a TV, does it have UL certification? So if I plug it in, it won't burn down my house. So make sure that that's another thing these manufacturers don't understand. Okay, I saw an Indiegogo. There's no requirement that I have to get certified, right?
Yeah.
Get it tested by a third-party agency. Well, I guarantee you, when you talk to a real retailer like Best Buy, Target, Sears, one of the things they're going to ask you is, has your product been tested, not by your friends, not by Joe in the warehouse, but has been tested by a third-party agency? Make sure this product will do what it's supposed to do, but also, two, make sure it won't cause any liability or harm to their customers.
Interesting. Okay, being respectful of your time, I have one more question before we go into the lightning round, which is, from your experience with working with several retailers and with several manufacturers, what do the best-in-class manufacturers do from a marketing standpoint while their products are in store?
I would say and this is the reason why Retailbound actually was built on, the best-in-class manufacturers do a couple of things. One, they drive business to their retailers. A lot of our clients, before they get started with us, thought, hey, it's just about me. I make more money when I sell my own website. That's correct. You do make a lot more profit when you sell on your own website. But now you get into retail, where you have BestBuy.com, Amazon, Target.com, it's about driving business to their stores, their website. And it takes a while. It's a paradigm shift. What? Yeah, you just because you got your product.
So would you stop selling on your website and just have list of stockists?
You can do. I would never advise stopping completely and making your site an informational site. That's a good question. I would say as long as you're fair and consistent. So if the retail price is $129 for your product, and it's $129 everywhere, but all of a sudden you're at $9. You're $30 lower than your retail account. That's not a partnership. And we tell our clients, just because you got your product into a Best Buy or a Target, your job isn't done. It's just begun. A retail buyer like myself, we're not at the macro level. We're not driving business for you. We're not going to spend marketing dollars on your one SKU product. Okay, so it's up to you as a manufacturer to drive your marketing, paid search, SEO, promotions, content, in-store merchandising, things to drive traffic to a store. Because remember, if it doesn't sell in the store, okay, you're doing different. All you did was move your product from your warehouse to Best Buy's warehouse. Nothing's changed.
It's not changed, yeah, true.
It's like going from your bedroom to your kitchen. Nothing's changed. You just moved locations. Once the product is sold, then you go hurrah. So I'd say best-in-class manufacturers, there's two things. One, it's a truly a partnership. I'm going to drive that sales, to that retailer, website or stores. And second thing that the best-in-class do is they make it easy to work with them. Sony, I love them as a consumer. All right, no offense, and I doubt they're listening. I hate them as a manufacturer. They made my job extremely rough, but unfortunately, they're Sony. They can get away with that. A startup can't do that. So a best-in-class manufacturer has to work. It's a partnership. We're all trying to do the same. We're trying to grow business. We're trying to win customers. You not getting me information I need, not being able to keep my margins where it should be, not driving traffic to my stores. This is not a partnership. It's a one-way deal here. So I think being able to communicate, keep the buyer's job easier, and driving traffic to a retailer's website or stores will definitely keep you best in class.
Yeah. I typically sort of advise my clients that, sometimes, I'd be like, try and get more channels, distribute your products, especially when, they own the vertically integrated, where they actually, do the manufacturing. And I say, look, one of the ways to sort of hack your marketing is, get into physical stores and, get your products seen by people.
Yep.
Okay, so while they're doing the marketing for their brand and everything, have you seen, or do you have any case studies or use cases of where it's had a net effect on their business, also say they were like a traditional online retailer selling direct to consumer but they were manufacturers or vertically integrated, and they started to distribute, to major retailers. Do you have any case studies in which it changed their business, it doubled their business, or it even, 10x their business?
Yeah, it takes time. It's not an overnight process. One of our clients, with Indiegogo manufacturer. We told Indiegogo it made a unique product. We started with them last January 2016. Starting at CES. Building their program for them. The pricing, their distributor, their sales team we built for them. And then this summer they launched they fulfilled their backers this last summer. They got Amazon in June. We were able to help them get into BestBuy.com, Walmart.com, Staples.com, some other retailers. Got some sales going. And then we also, because of our B2B background, was able to launch them into B2B. And they started getting some sales. We started testing some price points. And then this past January, Walmart has agreed to put them in 3,700 locations, starting in May. Best Buy has agreed to put them in all 1,050 stores in the U.S., 136 stores in Canada. They're going to be on air on QVC next week. Wow. Dish Network is going to start selling their product here in the U.S., and Dish Network sees they're in about 20,000 homes per day.
Wow.
So here's a small client, Indiegogo client, that they sold a lot on Indiegogo over a year ago.
This is over 1 year.
1 year. 1 year of working
So
with us.
how many units to date do you think they've sold? Outside of Indiegogo.
I would say I would say excluding the retail brick and mortar, that won't launch officially till the spring. I say north of 35 to 40,000 units. And it's a higher price. It's over $100.
Okay.
So it's not a $9 trinket. It's over $100.
Okay.
It's in the smart home category, but in 1 year, from being an unknown player to now I'm starting to be requested by retailers all around the world. And for them, we just had a conversation yesterday. But hey, they don't want to stretch themselves too thin. And I agree with them. Is let's find, I think Best Buy, Walmart, QVC, and Dish, are probably 4 good partners. And that's it. Let's do it right.
Are you able to share the name of the brand?
The company's called Cujo.
Cujo.
GetCujo.com.
How do you spell Cujo?
CUJO.
CUJO. Okay.
So Get
Cujo.
CUJO.com. Great company. One of our favorite clients, amongst other clients we represent. They've done a great job in moving their brand from X to Y over the last 12 plus
it's
months.
very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. In regards, just one final question. Would you say Shark Tank is a strategy attempting to get on Shark Tank? In the UK, it's called Dragon's Den. It's same format. Okay. So is that a strategy? Has anyone done it?
It's funny you mentioned, because it had a few times at CES this year and last year, small show, and we were kind of pitching who we are. Like, hey, you like Shark Tank? What the money? Yeah, that's right. We are. So we kind of joke that sometimes we're known as a Shark Tank because we get a lot of good advice. We don't give any money to you, but we give a lot of advice. We actually have a client or two that was on Shark Tank.
Okay.
Good, bad, and different. They were on Shark Tank. I would say Shark Tank. It's probably tougher to get in Shark Tank than to get onto a traditional retailer. No offense to Mark and the rest of the team. If you have an opportunity to present yourself, great. If you can't get on, there's other ways. Hopefully, companies like Retailbound can help you get into the retail landscape. But Shark Tank is an opportunity, but I wouldn't bank on that as my primary way of getting
as a
into
strategy.
retail.
It's like a lottery, really. We had someone who made it to Shark Tank, and she was 1 out of 5,000. People selected. It's the odds of that stacked against you. It's been a really interesting conversation, Yohan. So I always do this. I have what's called a lightning round on every show, and I pretty much just ask my guest one question, and if you could answer with a single sentence, that would be perfect. If you can't, I'll allow a few sentences. Are you ready?
Far away.
All right. How do you hire people? They're quite random questions.
How I hire people?
Yes.
I hire people. I hire people that are innovative and think outside the box.
Okay. What are your 3 indispensable tools for managing your business?
3 tools how to manage my business. That's a very good question. I would say, it's early in the morning here in the U.S. So I'm trying to figure out what are 3 tools. I would say that my 3 tools would be my laptop, my tablet, and my smartphone. I guess.
Fair enough with devices. Okay. All right. This one is a curveball. What's been your best mistake to date? By that I mean a setback that's giving you the biggest feedback.
As a manufacturer, my biggest mistake was assuming to send samples when they're not requested.
All right. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. If you could choose a single book or resource that has made the highest impact on how you view building a business and growth, which would it be?
My book.
What's the name of your book?
Retailbound. Yeah, learn how to sell your products to retailers on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and our retailers around the world.
I will link it.
I know they have a shameless plug. There you go.
It's all right. Allowed. I'll link to it in the show notes for sure. So Yohan, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I would most certainly follow up with more questions after this show. And I'm very sure for those of you listening, you have questions. If you have questions, Yohan, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Our website is retailbound.com, and my email address is yjacob, YJACOB, at retailbound.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. It has been very interesting, I have to say. Cheers. Have a good one.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.